Hey all, welcome to the Text to Action series where we build intelligent systems that transform natural language into real world actionable outcomes using AI. To understand the concept better, let's start by building a simple smart calendar AI assistant, and then we will tackle more complex challenges starting from smart home control to document automation as we master turning all these things, all these words into actions. So, what's our end goal for this specific project? We will create a working AI system where you can simply type or say, create a party event at 5 p.m. on March 20 and watch it instantly appear in your Google Calendar. The focus of this exercise is to grasp the knowledge of the fundamentals here so that you can apply it in real world and tackle more complex problems. So let's get started with this first one. So this part one of the series will focus on building the foundation that's going to happen in your backend, where we set up a simple ExpressJS backend that connects to the Google Calendars API. This will be able to expose a specific endpoint for us where we'll be able to send the required information and make the calendar event creation happen. All the codes are available in this specific GitHub repository. Let's get started and with this minor flow, and then we'll go dig deeper into the code. After everything is set up, we will start the server which runs in localhost 3000. We will authenticate to create the required auth tokens and store it in tokens.json so that we can securely connect to the Google Calendar API by exposing this endpoint from a, we will make a request to create event to the Google Calendar via this. Now let's get started. My application is running at port 3000, and once you get yourself authenticated, it will be stored like this way. And what we have to do here is, like, first we have to go to this endpoint like I mentioned to first securely connect. I have already authenticated myself, so I'm good here. Now that I'm connected and authenticated properly, let's proceed testing this by using the quick curl command to hit this specific API endpoint so that we can see and validate whether it have created as expected or not. So let's change this to meet Tom, and then we will change the time from 10th to, I don't know, 15th, maybe March 15th. Cool. It did successfully hit this specific endpoint as expected, and it created the event for us, this event ID, and there is also a direct link which we can use to go directly to it. And there you go, it got created as expected. Awesome. So now that we have verified, let's see how exactly this was possible by looking directly at the code. First of all, before we complete this, there are like a certain prerequisite step that we have to complete, which would be to go to the Google Cloud console, and then you'd have to properly configure and create OAuth2 credentials, and then you'd have to like store the Google client ID, the client secret, to your local .env file, just like it's mentioned over here. And then this callback is very useful for us to retrieve the authenticated tokens from the Google API call and then store it locally as tokens.json. All right, cool. Let's get started and dig into the code. So first of all, this is a very simple ExpressJS setup. So most of it will be pretty straightforward. We're going to use .env package to pass environmental variables, specifically with the creds. ExpressJS for handling the web server for us based out of Node.js, and then Google APIs, which is a Node.js client, which helps us to connect and get complete authorization and authentication. Cool. Let's jump straight into the code and then go over this quickly. First of all, the initial setup, the .env to pass and access the env files, Express.js to create the instance of the web server, and then you have Google APIs to instance here, which I was mentioning like before, to create authentication, authorization, and then file system to store the tokens. Awesome. So we instantiated the Express, and then this is a typical converting to JSON, request parameters, and then we're serving all the files under the public to via the server. And then the actual core part would be in here where we configure the auth to the OAuth client using this by creating a new Google instance. And then once that's done, we now have the OAuth2 client. In here, what we are trying to do is to recheck whether the tokens are already existing. If yes, then we would actually reuse it. If no, then this comes into picture where we would have to like first authenticate and then store it. So this is a signature to get the authentication completed from the Google, and then it would automatically redirect the call back with the required code, which we will store as a tokens here, and then we would store it in tokens.json using the file system. Cool. And then the next is pretty straightforward, where we expose this API/create event route where anyone can hit it in this specific endpoint, exposed endpoint with proper expected parameters. And once those parameters are being sent as expected, then we would use this Google API client to connect to the calendar API, this version with this specific configuration, and then we would just create the calendar events with these specific information. And yeah, there you go. This is a very simple setup for us to hit the necessary API endpoints and create events in Google Calendar. And I just want to call out that there is also this specific setup that you can find useful. The prerequisite to complete the OAuth setup contains a detailed information on like what needs to be completed, and it also have necessary screenshots which can help you to properly set it up and avoid certain errors that I went through. Cool. With that, I'll end this video. Thanks for watching, and watch out for the next upcoming video in this series. Take care.